In this movie, I'll show you how to expand and simplify your auto-traced artwork so that you can access the path outlines directly using the black and white arrow tools. And so, for example, where this artwork is concerned, Illustrator has gone ahead and traced the top edge of the paper, and we also have a single little piece of dust right over here that I'd like to get rid of. And that's the point at which you just go ahead and expand your artwork so you can modify the path outlines directly. And so I'm going to go ahead and zoom back out here, and I'm going to create a new layer by dropping down to the little page icon at the bottom of the layers panel and Alt or Option clicking on it. That forces the display of the layer options dialog box, at which point I'll go ahead and call this guy Expanded Paths, let's say, and then I'll click OK. All right, now I want to copy the 600 ppi version of the artwork. So I'll click on its little circle to select it right there. And then I'll press the Alt key or the Option key on the Mac and drag either of these blue squares and drop it onto the new layer. And because the Alt or Option key is down, that goes ahead and duplicates the artwork as opposed to moving it. All right, now I'll go ahead and collapse the tracing layer and turn off its eye so that it's no longer visible. And then I'll go up to this Expand button up here in the control panel and click on it. And essentially, anytime you see the word expand inside Illustrator, that's going to convert this special object to static path outlines. And sure enough, in our case, we end up with this group, and we can tell it's a group because we're seeing the word group over here on the far left side of the control panel. But I want to gain direct access to all the paths. So I'll go up to the Object menu and choose the Ungroup command, or you can press Control-Shift-G or Command-Shift-G on the Mac. And now I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here on this top junk, and I know I want to get rid of this little guy, so I'll go ahead and marquee it with the black arrow tool, and then press the backspace key or the delete key on the Mac to get rid of it. And then I'll just marquee this garbage up here at the top, and I'll again press the backspace or delete key. All right, now let's say you want to simplify the path outlines a little bit. Illustrator offers a feature that does exactly that. And so the first thing I'll do is press Control-A or Command-A on the Mac in order to select all the path outlines. And then I'll press Control-H or Command-H on the Mac to hide those anchor points so we can better see what we're doing. And now you want to go up to the Object menu, choose Path, and choose Simplify. Now, by default, Illustrator goes a little bit too far, and we can see that by turning on the Preview checkbox. And that just looks absolutely ridiculous. The good news is we've dropped from 29,000 anchor points to just 4,600. But of course, the bad news is that our artwork is absolutely unidentifiable. So you have a couple of options here. We've got the angle threshold that determines the maximum angle of our corners. And so notice as you crank that value up, you typically get better and better results. And so I could take it all the way up to 180, but then we're not really dropping too many anchor points here, which is why I ultimately took it down to 150 degrees like so. And then what you typically want to do is crank the curve precision value all the way up to 100%. And that's still going to give us fewer anchor points than we had before. Notice that we've dropped about 9,000 anchor points. And then I just go ahead and press the down arrow key while this value is active till I'm no longer comfortable with the results that I'm seeing on screen, which happens at about 97%. Things start to shift a little bit too much, which is why I went ahead and took this value back up to 98%. And notice we've still got way fewer points, about half as many anchor points as we had before, which means that this document is going to be a lot easier to export and to print. And now I'll just go ahead and click OK in order to accept those results. And just so we can see the difference nice and close here, I'll go ahead and press Control-Z or Command-Z on the Mac. These are the unsimplified paths. And then if I press Control-Shift-C or Command-Shift-C on the Mac to redo that simplification, we see those simplified path outlines with only about half as many anchor points, doing some really great work inside this illustration. All right, and just because Control-H or Command-H, that keyboard shortcut that hides the anchor points, because it's sticky, it's actually saved as a state in your document. I'll go ahead and press Control-H or Command-H on the Mac in order to bring back those anchor points, and I'll click off the illustration to deselect it. And that, friends, is how you expand and simplify your auto-traced artwork here inside Illustrator.